Hello, beautiful souls. This is Lizz Grace Christie here in sunny Arizona on this very beautiful day, December 31st. I'm recording this podcast in advance because I will be on a train at midnight Pacific Standard Time when this podcast is released. I released this podcast on the stroke of midnight Friday, Pacific Standard Time, because Friday is Freya's Day, also known as Venus's Day. And this report covers a forecast for the weekend from Friday, the stroke of midnight, all the way through to Monday, the moon's day, at the stroke of midnight. Furthermore, I am also typically reporting and creating these podcasts in Portland, Oregon. So that's the logic behind the Pacific Standard Time release, along with all my transit times and aspects. The Weekend Goddess Report is set in Pacific Standard Time, and I am not changing that anytime soon. Sorry, guys, in the East Coast and the rest of the world. If you tune in, I'm really grateful you're here. Just adjust accordingly. So this weekend for January 3rd through January 6th, 2025, yes, we are in the new year, baby. Well, actually, it's still New Year's Eve while I'm recording this, but still, let's pretend I'm in the future, January 3rd through January 6th, 2025, and you are alive and listening to the Weekend Goddess Report with Lizz Grace Christie, so let's dive on in. On January 2nd, Venus ingressed into the sign of Pisces, and the moon, Miss Luna, will be passing by the freshly ingressed Venus in Pisces, setting a very dreamy landscape for this weekend. So I only felt it fitting to read you a bedtime story, one that I wrote based off of a channeled message that I received a couple months back. This message had everything to do with the goddess Ceres, Persephone, and Hades. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my tale, a tale titled Persephone's World. Once upon a time, when the earth was young and the seasons had yet to unfurl, there existed a goddess named Ceres, mother of all things green and growing. She was the weaver of earthly time, a creature of soil and stone, and the one who marked the cycles of the year. Her love for the land sculpted rolling hills, rooted the trees, and whispered through the streams. Ceres knew that her time in this realm would one day come to an end, and so she prepared to leave her mark. She offered her vitality to the land, descending deep into the heart of the earth, leaving behind a seed. And from this seed, a single golden narcissus flower bloomed, a gleaming beacon of Mother Ceres' love and sacrifice. In her absence, the world mourned. Creatures who had lived in her light grew weak, and the sky wept, darkening the land. But beneath the surface, the earth began to awaken anew. Volcanoes erupted, rivers carved fresh paths, and Gaia, the spirit of Earth itself, emerged alive, vibrant, and radiant. This rebirth captured the attention of distant realms, drawing the gaze of powerful beings across the cosmos. Among them was a race known as the Nalawagish, led by a cunning priest king named Hades. The Nalawagish were explorers and conquerors, and beings who were stripped of the warmth that once pulsed within them. "Look at that planet," Hades murmured, dark eyes glittering with ambition. "Alive and vibrant." With a mind as sharp as his gaze, Hades descended with his kin, settling on Gaia's crust, intent on harnessing her power. The Nalawagish, or Nala for short, were beings of metal and strategy, souls weighed down by a singular drive for control. The Nala were too arrogant to understand Gaia's warmth or the rhythm of her life force. "Find me something of value in this land," Hades commanded his scouts, with a sly smile twisted on his lips. One day, deep within a volcanic cave, one of his scouts stumbled upon a golden narcissus. The scout returned, babbling of a flower so beautiful that it outshone the stars. "Brighter than the stars, brighter than Mars. She's the key that will set us free," murmured the scout by Hades' side. "Set us free, key that will set us free. So beautiful, so bright, ha." The flower's beauty grew into an obsession, driving the scout to madness. The scout tore out his own eyes, unable to bear the sight of anything lesser than the flower. Intrigued by the tale, Hades set off to see the flower for himself. When he entered the volcanic cave and beheld the golden narcissus, he stopped, awestruck. It was as if a piece of the sun had taken root in the earth. He reached out, fingers trembling, feeling a warmth from the petals that pulsed like a heartbeat. In that moment, he knew he must possess it. Along with these strange feelings bubbling up from within him, came an urge to bind himself with the golden aura that the flower emitted.
You, my golden bride, you will be my queen. I shall possess you, cherish you. Will you take me?
Hades' voice trembled as he spoke to the silent flower. The narcissus offered only a faint shimmer, its golden petals glowing softly in response. Hades understood that it needed no words, that it was timeless, beyond language, a fragment of Earth's deepest secrets, born of sacrifice and death, yet bursting with life. With his heart set, Hades ordered the construction of a grand temple around the flower.
No one shall lay eyes upon her.
Hades choked.
Look upon this flower unbidden is to invite madness.
The Nala worked tirelessly and wore gauzed veils to shield their eyes against the flower's beauty. Hades oversaw the work, his gaze never leaving the golden blossom. Some whispered of the scout who had found it, a tale of ecstasy and agony, but Hades paid no mind to their gossip. He lived only for the flower now. As the temple neared completion, he prepared for the ritual that would bind him and his chosen bride together. The temple was completed within 3 Earth months, and on the night of a Scorpio full moon, Hades entered the temple of the Narcissus and shut the cedar door behind him. Days blurred into nights, lost to the world outside. He had come in search of a union, a communion of sorts, but the flower offered something far greater, a call that echoed deep within his hollow armor. Drawn into the silent depths of each petal, he felt himself pulled into an endless abyss, a place where questions dissolved into unexplainable sensations. The people of the Nalawagish grew anxious as the days passed without their priest king. "Our king is in love with a flower," they proclaimed, eyes wide with worry. "Has he gone mad with emotions?" The elders shook their heads, casting uneasy glances toward the distant volcanic cave where the temple laid. They had always known Hades to be a man of strength and reason, a leader with an unbreakable will, and now the smartest among them had wondered if something beyond their understanding had ensnared them. "Love is a foolish thing," said one elder with a furrowed brow. "And a flower? We always found Hades a bit queer, but this is beyond our better judgments." And so, day by day, their unease grew, whispers of madness and enchantment swirling like a restless wind around the colony. Back at the volcanic cave, inside the temple's dim sacred space, Hades took the flower as his bride, not in the way of men, but in the silent, secret communion of spirits. In his devotion, Hades was bound ever more deeply to the flower that drew its life from the earth's hidden heart. The flower became his consort, and he tended to it as if it held the essence of all he had ever desired. Its golden light grew brighter, pulsing with a life of its own. Yet there was no bliss in this union, no wedding feast, no song. Instead, a profound sorrow lingered, ancient as Gaia herself. Hades was captivated by its mystery, and by the way the flower kept its secrets. He had married not a queen, but a symbol, something he could never fully understand. In its presence, he would sit in contemplation. His thoughts softened, a gentle pulse awakened at the center of his chest, a faint echo of the sensation he had felt when he first laid eyes on the flower. Over time, the bond between Hades and the Narcissus seeped into the very being of Hades. Many moons passed, and with each cycle, Hades grew closer to the Narcissus, absorbing its wisdom. With each revelation, he felt a quiet aging in his soul, a deepening awareness that his time was slipping away. In this awareness, his heart awakened, a strange sensation, distant and nearly forgotten. For centuries, he had been a man of iron will, a fierce ruler, but now he sensed that his methods had grown stale. On the eve of a Scorpio new moon, Hades returned to the temple one last time. Before entering, he paused, laying down his royal cloak, his armor, and the intricate implants that had kept his mechanical heart beating. Each piece he removed seemed to lighten his soul. As the last mechanical piece fell, Hades took a trembling step forward. His body, sustained by artifice for ages, could no longer stand. Silent and radiant, the flower stood waiting, its soft golden glow a witness to his last breath. With the great cedar doors to the temple open, the endless night welcomed itself in. Persephone had granted Hades the ultimate freedom, releasing him from the chains he had long imprisoned upon himself. His soul finally perceived the Narcissus for what it truly was, a divine spirit, a fragment of Persephone, a fountain of youth, a fractal of life itself. In their astral state, Hades and Persephone went on to rule the mortal underworld together, each vowing, in their union, to guide lost souls toward the light. As for the temple of the Narcissus, of Persephone, some speak of a great flood that swept through, hiding the entrance to the volcanic cave. Others believe it was buried by the restless movement of the Earth's tectonic plates. Whatever its fate, the legacy of Hades and Persephone endures, woven into Earth's stories, alongside the remnants of the Nalawagish, these beings from the stars who once roamed the land in strange shapes and metals. Thus lingers the myth of Persephone, the golden flower, more radiant than the stars. She, like a distant, ageless melody, singing only the faintest of whispers of her story, yet, to those with ears keen enough to hear and eyes sharp enough to see, her tale resounds with clarity. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I wrote that story, and I am Lizz Grace Christie of Galactic Mythology. This has been your Weekend Goddess report for January 3rd through January 6th. I'll catch you next weekend. Bye.